Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin 1. To many of you newcomers, you probably have no idea who Rich Franklin was, and you would be forgiven. But anyone worth their salt should at least be familiar with the Spider. Those that have been watching for a while now could tell you a thing or two, a moment from Anderson's reign. And even though Rich was overshadowed by giants like Silva and GSP, in those days he was still a force to be reckoned with. Rich Ace Franklin was a math teacher from Cincinnati, Ohio, who decided one day that he wanted to be a fighter. You heard me right. Instead of crunching numbers and teaching math, he decided it would be more fun to bust people's heads open. Ace, who got his nickname from the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective because of his resemblance to Jim Carrey, did have a karate background, later segueing into submission fighting when he got his hands on some grappling tapes. Yes, the guy taught himself grappling by watching VHS tapes in his basement and trying the moves out on his buddies. Franklin went pro in '99, defeating his first 5 opponents, mostly by KO, and then suffering a no contest against Aaron Brink in his first title fight. He would then go on a 9-fight tear, even beating MMA legend Evan Tanner in his UFC debut, although Ace would lose to Lyoto Machida via front kick in Japan. Rich would rebound quickly and tear through both light heavyweight and middleweight divisions, sending his opponents to the shadow realm with punches and kicks, but also showing everyone those grappling tapes had paid off with submissions. In the Ultimate Fighter 1 finale, Ace TKO'd Ken Roid Rage Shamrock, granting him a title shot against then middleweight champion Evan Tanner. After capturing the belt, he brutally KO'd Nate Quarry in his first title defense, and would go on to defend his belt again against David Loazo, only to get himself caught in the Spider's web. Anderson the Spider Silva was born to be a fighter, with his long legs and reach. In contrast to Rich Franklin, Silva started training jiu-jitsu at a young age. He then moved on to Taekwondo, Capoeira, as well as Muay Thai for a few years before starting his MMA career. Silva would only taste defeat once out of his first 12 fights, even defeating Carlos Newton via flying knee. This would not be the last time we would see Silva just destroying guys with a knee clinic. Silva would go on to be 3-1 in his first Pride run, moving on to other promotions, notably beating Jeremy Horn, albeit via decision. The Spider would snatch up the cage-rate middleweight strap before losing to Ryo Chonan via insane flying scissor heel hook in his last Pride outing. After mopping up the cage rage middleweight division, Uncle Dana would finally send Silva his golden invitation to the UFC, and it would be a title eliminator no less, against none other than the crippler Chris Lieben, which Silva just dismantled while making him look like a complete amateur, KOing him with, you guessed it, knees, setting the table for the main course. I love this fight. Why, you may ask? Well, for a few reasons. One, I had never seen anyone being KO'd with knees from the Muay Thai clinch like that before in the UFC. Two, it just showcased how much of a master and how much of a badass Silva really was. And Rich was no slouch. He was a savage. But as you have probably all heard before, there are levels to this, and Silva was just way above Franklin's here. I used to do some training in Muay Thai in Thailand a few years back, and would see tiny guys weighing no more than 60 kilos just ragdoll much bigger dudes in the clinch, that is. It was all techniques, subtle movements, and trips. The way they positioned their hips to find openings with those knees, and I was reminded of that when watching this fight. And three, it was such a destruction, dude. Silva just broke Franklin down. You could see Rich's spirit just slowly leaving his body. Like when you spam body kicks in the UFC game, and the stamina bar just drops, and then when the body was spent, he went for the face. It was textbook. I mean, body, face, all in the clinch. Rich just could not escape that Muay Thai plum. And then when he had basically rearranged his face and Rich was badly hurt, the Spider pounced on him. To be fair, Franklin did manage to land a few decent leg kicks, but they were hardly of any consequence. And another reason this fight was so important was that this marked the beginning of the Spider's reign of dominance over the middleweight division. He would capture the belt in spectacular fashion, as well as lose it in an equally spectacular way down the road. For those reasons, Rich Franklin versus Anderson Silva 1 is a one to watch.